Welcome to Tactical Magic, a business strategies podcast for the warrior goddess entrepreneur. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Magic. I am very excited for this episode today. I've got one of my very good friends, John Asford, on the line with me. This man is a literal miracle worker. He's a magician, he's a wizard, he's a warlock, he's like the most dynamic energy worker I've ever had the pleasure of working with, working alongside, taking classes with, taking classes from. And in addition to the magic that he does and that he is in the world, he's also the most amazing cook that I've ever met in my life. Not just because he uses great ingredients or because he knows how to flavor pair or any of that stuff, but also because he puts his magic into his cooking. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie Chocolat, where they imbue the food with the love, but he does that. So when you eat food that this man has made, you're literally getting some of his magic into your body as you eat it. So it's extra delicious and amazing. So just so you know, before we get started, John Asford is on YouTube, where he shares some of his cooking magic, and he's also on Instagram. We'll put that link in the description of this podcast in the show notes. But I'm just excited to have him here and share a little bit about our mutual passion, access consciousness, and also just what it's like being a magician, walking through the world and creating your own reality when you're surrounded by this reality and the programming that we've all been fed and sold and all the lies that we're sort of programmed with. How do we step out of that and step into more of our own magic? So welcome, John. I'm excited to have you on the show.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to say, shout out about this sister too, because I have to tell you guys a short story. We met, I don't know, like it feels like 4 years ago, and we were meeting at an access class through a mutual friend of ours, Barbara Gilman, and this sister told me something when I think we were at my house. I was talking about my food, and she was the one who said, John, there's money in recipes. There's money in doing something different with this food thing. And I was like, yeah, thanks, Molly. People say that cool. And then I have to tell you guys, since people haven't seen it yet, there's a video that I made when I was in LA a couple weeks ago around making pecan pie. I didn't know people really like pecan pies. And this one guy from Mexico City saw it. He made a promo for me for my pecan pies, which I'm going to try to sell. I'm not going to try. I'm going to sell some of them locally, and I'll mail them if people want to buy them, pecan pies. And it's just like, when I saw the commercial, this promo this guy made, I thought of Molly, like, get the fuck out here. She said that, and I was like, and so I'm telling you, if you get a chance to work with my sister Molly, do that shit, because she sees shit before you can see it, and bam, boom. I mean,
Bam, boom, it's happening.
it's happening. So with me, this food thing is something I've always loved. And I realized that someone told me that if you do what you love, it's not work.
Yeah.
So what I've decided is that I'm able to retire when I'm ready to retire from the county as of July 2nd from working with young people and their families. So that's on the board. Now, I haven't made a decision that I'm going to leave immediately, because I love some of the aspect of coaching managers for the county and working with the kids. And I'll do that as long as I keep on having fun. But the rest of the things that I'm going to do in my life will only be the things that bring me joy, because I found that when you bring you joy, people find you. Like this guy finding me from Mexico City, and he works for Paul Mitchell. Okay. He does commercials and stuff for them. So, I mean, that's how the universe works for me. My world has changed because I'm willing to stay in questions. I'm willing to, and it's not just one modality. One of the things I think that I have to say that I admire from my relationship with Molly is that she reminded me something that, if you hear something 2, 3, 4 times, you might want to pay attention to.
It might be for you. Yeah.
Yes, it's for you. And especially when those individuals aren't connected and they say the same thing. So I
love that you're saying this, because I've just noticed a couple things happen to me from different people in different places. And I'm like, maybe that's a service I should be offering. So I'm just glad this is coming up. Hello, it's a reminder again.
Yes. One of my friends told me when I got to Access, I was like, I found this new shiny toy and I can do all of this. I can do all of that. And one of my dear friends, Antoine Stoudemire, a majestic musician here locally, said, dude, I've known you way before Access, and I don't know what you don't know, but I always knew you were doing that.
Yeah.
That's what was really so attractive about you as a friendship, is that you had that capability. And so I say that to people because when you start being discovering more of you, is there a possibility that I'll ask people that you already are that what you're looking for?
Mm, yeah.
And
And you often can't see it very well for yourself. So you often, somebody else keeps having to be like, hey, hey, remember how you're
yes,
good at this? Maybe
yes,
that's the thing you should be doing more of. And
yes,
it doesn't have to feel like work. Just because you're doing a lot more of the thing that you love and maybe doing it more strategically than you've done it in the past, that doesn't
right,
mean it's not going to still light you up from the inside like wildfire.
yeah.
It might
And I
just
think
be
a
a
lot,
bigger level of that.
yes. And so for me, I'm 56 years in this body right now, and I don't feel like it.
Hmm.
And I'm ready to create. I'm like everything is bulging for creation for me right now.
Hmm.
Everything. And like I'm even noticing like when the door shut for like for example, I'll give you this funny story. So I've been doing bars for like 3 years for Access Conscious bars. And I've had a lull for like 3 months not having a bars class. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And what I realized that there are other things that I'm gonna do more bars class when it's available, when it shows up. But I'm realizing that I have like 4 other projects that I'm beginning to realize are asking for more attention. So I'm gonna pull off some of my bars energy. Not that I'll stop, I'll do it for somebody else, but actually put some energy in a project. Well, I'll share this project with
Share it
somebody.
with us.
Okay. So Molly came to my house because when I ever do bars class, I actually offer food that I cook when I offer bars class or any access classes. I like to offer people my love and my cook. And so Tori was telling me about having a virtual cookbook. And I was like, well, wait a sec, what do you mean? She said, you know how you're silly in the kitchen? And what would it be like for you to have a membership of having people who can't cook, that you be your jolly, crazy, exotic, orgasmic, conscious, crazy ass person that you be? And I was like, huh? And so she says, babe, when you call me from work and tell me to do such and such, I freak the fuck out because I'm lost in the kitchen. She says, when you show up at home and you show me how to do something, I can do it. So what would it be like to create a membership for people and you show people that you're not a chef, that you're this average guy who likes to, I'm not average, I hate being average, so
Not
I'm
average at
just,
all.
not at all. I'm this guy who loves the hell out of cooking, and I love cooking to be so orgasmic that when you put anything in your mouth, I want you to go there like when you had sex. That's my thing. I want because orgasmic energy is the most creative boom bang boom energy that is on planet, one of them. And so I do that in my cooking. What if I could help invite people to do that themselves
How
with
fun
food?
would that be? I would tune in all the time. Just pay a
Yes,
monthly fee and you get to watch you
yes,
cook every time you're in the kitchen. You just put the tripod
yes,
on, you put the Zoom
yes.
on, and everybody gets to
And,
just tune in and ask questions and see what you're
yep.
doing. Yeah.
And so that's one of my projects. And then this cookbook that you taught me, I'm actually working on a cookbook because I was like, oh my God, now I have to write down specifics for people. But it's actually making me go back and look at stories. The cookbook is going to be between my mom and me and my grandmother,
Yeah.
like conversations that we've had, conversations I remember, and why I start cooking.
And it's you cooking with consciousness. Like you're not a
Yes,
measure this perfectly kind of guy. You're like kind
no,
of put a smidge of this and like,
yes,
trust it's almost like you're going to force people to trust their awareness when it comes to cooking this
exactly.
stuff. You're just going to guide them with what goes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, I want that cookbook. I want
yeah,
that membership. I think that would
yeah,
be really fun. Not to
yeah.
say I
So,
told you so, but
yeah, yeah, you did tell me so. So that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
But my buddy said that because I I cooked this one kale soup, and I what happened is that, well, in the Northwest, it's the hippie. I call it the hippie state.
Hmm.
I went to the store locally, and they had these chips called kale chips. And I was like, ah. So I tried them in the store, and they had these Thai cashew kale chips. And I ate one, and I
Mm,
was walking through the store, and I was like, I said in my mind, what would that be like if I could turn that into a soup?
mm.
So I went back and bought ingredients about what it makes, what would it take to make something Thai. What it was, I did a lot of research on it, And so I made this soup. And so my friend Antoine, who is a vegan, he's like straight, he's one of the Northwest dudes. I took him the soup and he tasted it and he was like, oh my God. He was like, John, I'll pay you for a pot of soup. And so then recently, Vaughn from the group Midnight came in town and their reggae group, I cooked it for them. And they were
Mhm.
like, oh my God, we've never had anything on the planet. We travel all the time. And I was like, oh, what is it like to bring magic into food that lightens people up when they're like feel like they want to be depressed? And what would it be like to change the world by just introducing people to energy and joy through
Yeah,
the cooking?
through the cooking. What would that take? What would that
Yeah,
look like? I mean,
yeah,
I'm getting juiced up from the energy of it right now, and I haven't eaten
yeah,
your food in months.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
talking about it. And also, it's about looking at where is your magic already being received, and where have you been like unable to receive that feedback, because I'm sure people have been acknowledging you for your cooking for decades,
yes,
and it just is finally like, oh wait, they mean it, it's true. And what can I do to expand the beauty of that, to expand the magic of that, and just say, yes, okay, I'm listening to the feedback from the universe, and say, okay, I'm gonna give that my attention, I'm gonna give that my energy, and see what comes of it. There's so many
yeah,
people out there who have been making art or making jewelry, or passionate about how they treat their bodies, or passionate about how they do their taxes. And because they don't see that as their superhero capacity, they just brush it off as something that they know how to do. And I did this too. When I started my business, I started developing content and writing email sequences and nerding out on sales funnels and how all those pieces go together, and just digging into the magic of how sales funnels work, and how technology can take so much work off of our plate. But it wasn't until a friend of mine was like, hey, do you get that you have a capacity with that and the rest of us don't? I was in a community of
right,
lots of other healers and coaches. And
yeah,
I was like, no, of course not. This is the fun stuff. Everybody thinks this is the fun stuff. And she was like, no, that's the stuff that drives the rest of us crazy and we can't figure it out. Why don't you help us with that? And so it's the same with you, John. Everybody wants to eat food that makes their like whole body light up from the inside, but nobody knows how to put that food together for the most part.
yeah,
I mean, some people do. So it's like recognizing where you have that capacity and then being willing to go deeper into it. What would this look like if I was sharing it on a bigger scale? What would this look
yeah,
like if I was able to deliver it to more people than just whoever shows up at my house, or whoever, comes in the door asking for it? It's like,
right,
how do we need to broadcast that it exists, and expand our capacity to share it with more people, whether that's through online cookbook, or whether that's
yeah,
through a membership that they can receive it. I love that. I love that you listen finally, and you're doing it, and you're giving those things your
yeah.
attention,
Yeah, I mean,
because
it's the craziest thing, Molly, because then I started thinking about, okay, cameras, and then one of my buddies told me, well, dude, a lot of people shoot things with video from phones because the cameras on cell phones now are really, really, he's like, dude, if you
yeah,
have two cell phones with decent cameras, and when it comes to editing, you can't tell from somebody unless you buy like a super end video camera, you can't tell anymore. He said
no,
it's really, they're that good now. So I was like,
yeah, just need a
oh,
couple tripods so that they're steady.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
and then also I've also my buddy who when I shared this with, he said, John, I have this one that I'll get you just a gift from you to me. You can just cook me a dinner. He said there is a tripod that actually moves with you that you connect. He showed it to me on. He said, I'll get that for you. You can set that in the kitchen so when you move one direction, it'll actually you have one steady camera and the other one actually moves with you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh, I was like, this is becoming. So what happens from
Easy,
3 years
easy.
ago, being in the kitchen with you saying, John, have you ever considered this? To I'm like, wow, I see, and I feel like, and I said that this morning when I was on the show with my sister Natalie, I said something in my reality is about to explode, and that explosion is some creations that are right, like the book. I'm writing another book about the work that I've done with kids and families, uh, because I wanted to have people have an idea about what would it be like to be somebody who loves to cook, who was a probation officer, that'll allow people to choose a different way of living without being a total asshole. Because a lot of people have this preconception of probation officers, police officers being this, And when people find out I am one, they were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't fit the mold for anything, so fuck you."
Yeah.
Uh,
But I
so
just had an awareness of how those fit together too. Like if you're being the beacon for how families and people can be different with their kids, food is one of the best ways to bring a family together.
yeah,
There's something in there where that's all mixed together too.
yeah,
I don't know what it is, but
yeah. It's
yeah.
the magic of gathering.
Yeah. It's the thing
You
that
know?
that will definitely bring people together.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
But
awesome.
yeah, so I mean that's and then what happens is that it forces me also to look at like I had an issue because I told Tori I never wanted to do anything like Food Network because I really wasn't into the competition of things. I
Mm,
felt like Prince. I remember early on, Prince never went to any music awards because he said, "How can somebody tell me, a critic tell me about my art, and they might not even know how to play an instrument?"
mm,
And he was like, and so when I looked at the Food Network, I was like, where is it where people are building community through the Food Network? And so this idea I have is that I want to build community by inviting people into my space about having ease. And what if you could have ease every day once you stepped in the kitchen instead of fear? What would that create for everybody else in the house?
yeah. Of what it
So
create.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm on my way of creating this. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm not trying to make it look a certain way. I'm just like, and every episode's gonna be different. Uh,
You're asking questions consistently. That's the key. Will you talk
yes,
a little bit? I mean, I feel like I preach this a lot, but will you talk a little bit about just the magic of asking questions? Because you're much further along than I am in the world of access consciousness, but I talk about it all the time too. But
yeah,
tell us about just the magic of that.
okay. So here's the piece about being in question. When when you get out of question, you go to conclusion. Game is over. You can't go any further. You're stuck. And when I mean like, questions are asking everything. Like when I'm cooking, I say that. When I'm in my relationship with Tori, my wife, when I'm working with a client, I'm constantly going to stay in question because the first time I go to some type of conclusion, the person is stuck. I am stuck. Everything stops. Everything becomes dead. Questions allow things to be vibrant, energetic, and like champagne, bubbly, I would
Mhm.
say. And the purpose of a question is to get more clarity and awareness. And, and at the beginning, it's really awkward. And I like, and thank you for the compliment of like, oh, you've been doing this. Yeah, but I'm still working on it every day because
It's a
sometimes some
practice.
days are
It's
better than
not a
other.
perfecting
Yes, yeah,
thing.
exactly. It's just a practice.
Yeah.
And but what happens is the awareness. Like for example, once you start asking questions, you're able to open doors by just simply asking the question. Another person will walk by and they'll be like, "Well, the door didn't work for me because you didn't ask a question of the door." Once you ask a question of everything, a question even of your body. So here's the piece. I'm gonna give you guys an example from me
Good.
this
Do it.
week.
Do it. Do
Okay. So I work at the juvenile department 40 hours a week. And I find that sometimes I get into that building and I have a desire for fucking sweets like no other. Like I love sugar.
it.
That's my Achilles heel. And I was like, okay. So yesterday I was in the office. I had like two chocolates. I had like an almond joy, and I was like, "What am I eating?" So when I finished eating almond joy, I was like, "What are you doing?" And I realized I asked the question, "Body, did you want this?" And it wasn't my body wanting it. Now I know this people are going to probably wig out when I say this, but I have a capacity to be able to pick up people's energy, and I'm gonna explain this a little bit more detail. And so there are a lot of people who desire sugar in the office because if you go past their desk, they have sugar all in. I don't keep it in my office, but they have candies and that type of sort of thing. They have things at the printer, and I'm like, it's interesting how many people desire that. And what I came to realize is that I actually have been picking up on people's energy of desire of sugar, and I eat it. One day, my crazy ass even drove to this place in Portland called the Pie Spot to go get a pie. These lady had make this little person of pies. And when I got to the door and put my hand on the doorknob, my body's like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "What the hell?" And the lady inside was looking at me, and I'm talking to myself like outside the door. I was like, "This looks like a nut jobber." So she's looking at me, and I was like, my body said, "We don't want that." And so I went back to my car, like, "Whoa!" Walked back to my car, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, and when I got back, when I started driving, my body's like, no, that was somebody in the building who desired that. You just picked it up.
Ah.
Staying in the question, if I went to the result, and results like, you're so stupid, you always eat this stuff, but when I start asking the question, now I'm able to empower myself by asking more questions immediately. Like, John, do you really want to do this? Yeah, I want to do it. Are you aware that somebody's offering this to you that's not yours? Yeah. Or I don't want to do it. It allows me just to be present with all my choices.
Yeah, and there's a key part in there too that I think a lot of people don't get, which every time you ask, how does it get any better than this? Or what else is possible
Yeah.
now? A lot of people who aren't in the practice of these kinds of questions want to answer it and say, oh, it doesn't get better
Yes.
than this. Oh, and
Exactly.
they want to limit it by answering it. So I just want to point out the fact that you ask these questions, you get a hit of the awareness, but you don't actually need a concrete, defined answer to them.
Right.
You just gotta notice how the question itself brings up new possibilities and more awareness into your space. So
Right.
is this mine? Oh, it's not mine. I get it lighter feeling that it's not mine. Okay, then I don't need to go eat that pie, or I don't need to go, make that choice that maybe I would make on a regular basis because I suddenly asked a question about it. Body, what do you want? Body, show me the way. What's it going to take? How does it get better than this? Who am I today? What great and
Yeah.
glorious adventures will I be having or creating? Asking questions that just open up space for something different to show up is,
Right.
yeah, and we don't have to limit it by answering it. Just asking it changes our reality.
Right. And most people don't get that,
Yeah, most people don't.
unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's also sort of the fun of it. When I hear somebody say, "Oh, it doesn't," I'm like, "Oh yeah, I dare
Yeah.
you to just keep asking that question."
Yeah. Because I'm
Like
always
maybe it
amazed
does.
by people. Because when I say that to people, how's it get better than that? And like this weather here in Portland, I know you're in Texas and it's
Yeah,
nice there, but
it's cold
it's
here.
really nice here in Portland. I'll move this so you can see the sun on my face. Like,
Yeah,
look at how sunny it is in Portland and Northwest. You
I'm
live
jealous.
here. It's
I'm jealous.
like, look at this sun. I'm like, what the hell? But my point of it is that I'll say to somebody, oh my God, how's it get better than this? They say it doesn't. I'm
I
like,
know.
you just killed all your energy.
I
Bye,
know.
Felicia. I was like, you just killed all your energy. I'm not around. I'm not down with that. Bye. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, I'll usually say, like, are you sure? What if you just kept asking that question? And what's fun is when something shows up immediately. So the first time I was at a van life gathering and I said, how's it getting any better than this? And somebody was like, it doesn't. I was like, really? Because what if you just kept asking that question? What do you think would show up? And they were like, okay, fine. How does it get any better than this? And right then somebody walks up with marshmallows and s'more fixins up
Yeah.
to the campfire. And I was like, oh, that was pretty fast. Maybe you should keep asking. Like stuff can just show up. You
So
never know what it's
yes.
going to be.
And what's happened though, Molly, that I think is so sad is people have been trained out of this for something more concrete, which is not really real either. And
Right.
they've been trained out of that. I mean, people don't ask questions. I mean, I've had clients,
No,
students come to
we're
mind.
empowered to know. We have to know. We have to
Yes,
have the answers. Yeah.
yes. And by asking a question, and well, the knowing is another thing too, because there's a different slightness of knowing stuff that people don't even trust themselves because they really know things. But okay, so let me go with this. So if you know something and you ask a question, it creates the perfect equation of clarity. If you know something and you ask a question, like lots of people, like let's say dating. I have friends that a recent person told me if I'm dating, and I was like, you ever ask questions of what type of contribution this person is to you?
Hmm.
And they were like, huh? I'm like, do you ever ask the question, is this, I've said this, is this a booty job? Is this a contribution for, I hope that's not too much. Or I hope, is it 5 years? Is this a year? Is this just a good friend? Is this something that your body desires? Nobody asks questions and then they get into it and they make it like, oh, this is forever. And it was only really for 2 weeks. And then
Hmm.
they're devastated because if you ask a question of it and then you follow your body, people are like, well, why would you do that? Because your body knows.
Your body
It just
knows.
you just ask the question. Like when I go to restaurants now, I order what my body desires because the body. The body is eating, not my being. That's another
Mhm.
conversation. But
Yeah. We could go
trust
on forever.
forever, yes. But trust the question. The questions will allow you to have more clarity. If you come to conclusion, just feel that sometime energetic. I like sometimes asking people like, if you sit in your car, I'm sitting in my car right now. I can feel my back against the back of my chair, my butt's in the seat. I can feel that. Then I ask myself, what do I feel outside in the sun in Portland right now? Because I'm gonna step outside the car without stepping out of the car. start playing games with your body
Mm-hmm.
and see what shows
What
up.
you're aware of. Yeah, and
Yeah, man.
especially like you said, in relationships or in relationship to food, like food is a thing your body does. Like sex is a thing your body does.
Body
Let your
does.
body
Yes.
have a say in that. Body, do you want to do
Yes.
this? Body, does this feel good?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
are you sure? I think it's sometimes we want to avoid it because we think something's fun. I had a relationship like that recently where my
Uh-huh.
body knew better than I did, but I still went there because I thought it was fun and exciting. But if I had actually just tuned into my body and asked that question, it probably would have ended a lot sooner. And
Yeah.
that would be a good thing because in the end, that creates more space for my body to do more fun things in other places or with other people.
Right.
So yeah, be willing to ask questions. Number one, be willing to listen to the awareness you get. It might not be a
Yes.
concrete answer. It might just be a hit of move this way, say yes to this, say no to this.
Yeah.
And, you know, just to keep you going. But we're running out of time for this
Time.
episode,
Yes.
and I want you to be able to get to your next thing on time.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah.
what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? What's the name of your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Being John Ashford.
And his website is beingjohnashford.com. It's
Yep.
JohnAshford. So John with an H and Ashford, like the car. So
Yes.
you guys check this man out. He's got some
Please.
amazing stuff coming up. Knowing him is one of the greatest delights in my reality, and I hope that you get to share in his magic too. He's got a lot of big things on the horizon, not just the cooking, but also more consciousness, more classes,
Yeah.
more magic
Yeah.
all over the world. So stay tuned with this guy, and hopefully I'll have him on the show again soon
I
because
would love to.
he's
Love it.
so
Love it.
much
Love
fun to
it.
chat with and hang out with. Thank you, John, for being on the show, and thank you everyone for listening. Yeah, make sure to check him out on Instagram, check him out on Facebook. He's all over the place.
Thank you, sister. Love you so much.
Love you too. Bye, everyone.
Yes. Bye bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Tactical Magic. To find out more, please visit our website, wildheartsriseup.com.